Okay, I'm gonna try to talk a little bit about frames and lines, and how to use our shapes, our wedges, our triangle shapes, or how they function in regards to the idea of the concept of having framed lines, well-framed lines. So I use the dummy as an example of lines, and I'm going to use myself as an example of lines and wedges. So the dummy is kind of my mirror opposite. So if I'm doing one thing, the dummy is doing the appropriate opposing action, right? So say I'm on here, I send this wedge, right, which is well framed. It's well framed. My body is framed well. I have my wedge down here, my wedge this way. So they've got this lower wedge which helps support this whole torso line. My hips are forward, wedged forward. They've got that going. This wedge is coming forward now and has this forward pressure on this line, right? This is the line. So all of this wedge is behind this line. So I have a whole lot of power coming down to this line. And at the end of this line, if I should make contact with my target, right, if he didn't get in the way there, then I would have all of the force from the whole system landing in that punch, in that zone there. So the idea behind well-framed lines is that wherever the line is that we're operating on, we have a good frame. If I try to hit on this line, if I try to hit it with this strike, I may have a good wedge here. Maybe I have that wedge, but I don't have a well-framed line. So my hit's just going to be a glancing hit, you know, and maybe that's appropriate if my target wasn't the center of mass here. If my target was just the tip of a nose, and I wanted to just hit that, then, you know, even then I should be shifted over to frame this line, right, better. So just conceptually, that's what we're getting at. That's what I'm getting at least when I'm talking about frames and lines. If I'm trying to say, you know, frame your line or get a wedge behind that line, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you know, what my line isn't properly supported by the skeleton, right? And that's really what it all comes down to, right? Is using the skeleton to frame and approach the lines that we want to attack on. As now again, dummy is mirroring me appropriately. So if I'm coming in with this wedge, well, he's coming in as well on this same line, and so now we've made this contact where, you know, we get to feel the pressure of that, and we say, oh, well, dummy's solid, and so I don't want to waste my time fighting against him. I'm gonna shift. I'm gonna get out of the way of that, right? So now I'm reframing my line, and I'm coming in on this line still, but now I've gotten this opening as I reach in to get this. And in form, we'll be here. This is a clinch, right? And so we'll come with this little, we want to kind of bring our hips forward and get a little knee bend there. You can also come with this, you know, if you're really looking to, but the principle, the concept's still there. And you can see that even when I have this pulling line, I'm framing that line. This line's framed to pull, to clinch, you know, cinch the clinch. Anyways, which is a transitional situation anyways. My intention wasn't to go over the whole dummy form. It was just getting a statement out there about the idea behind having well-framed lines, and you know, using the shapes of, like, we see the triangles, you know, throughout. We see the triangles throughout the form. They you know, right? We have all these triangles wherever we're at. We have these triangles that get behind all of these lines that we're working on. So everything is still functioning linear, but it's you know, it's a little more like it's a little more kinetic than that. And man, there was a great basketball coach. I don't know who, can't remember his name right now. Anyways, he saw this also in basketball. You could see it in that type of offensive situation, offensive, defensive situation, that kind of combat. And it's, you know, and it's relative on, it's relative on field. It's relative in regards to your own skeletal structure, and your exchanges with another skeletal structure. It's pretty good. And anyways, that's what I'm getting behind when I'm saying, you know, the frames and the lines.